All right, so I want to share with you guys kind of a personal story with me. So, about 2 or 3 years ago, I stopped doing live services here. For the most part, I was just doing random stuff for random people that Father would lead me to, some online stuff, but I didn't do live services for a long time. It's because I didn't understand people very well. I didn't get them. And I went through a lot of crap the last 2 or 3 years. A lot of sufferings, a lot of pains, mental and physical. And it showed me something that's very important about people, the nature of people. And that's that we're not perfect. And that's that we do a lot of things, a lot of times, that we don't even know why we do it. We also get into situations where we feel like, more often than not, most people live with a sense of they don't know where they're going in life. They literally don't know what their right from the left is, and they don't even see the very next step they're taking in life because everything's so confusing and so messed up. And I used to teach a form of faith that I did not understanding people, and Father not giving me the knowledge I have now of people. I used to teach people that when you made mistakes, or that when you have moments where you felt like you didn't know what way you were going, you didn't know what you were doing, that you have moments where, your faith felt shaky, that you should very heavily reprimand yourself, essentially, that everything you did called for a form almost of unachievable perfection. Because there is a lie that modern Christianity teaches, is that when somebody gets saved, they have to adopt what I like to call Christitude. Christitude is both a way you talk, and it's also the way you hold yourself. And I call it Christitude, but I also call it absolute, I'm making this word up, fakery. Absolute fakery. You ever been around somebody who calls themselves a Christian, and when they talk, they have a very particular tone to their voice? Preachers, a lot of, especially Southern preachers, they do it. And I tell you. And when I hear that, my first thing is my ears shut off. Number two is a lot of people who call themselves Christian, they walk around and they're very bubbly with people. They're very cheerful. But you ever notice that it comes across sometimes a little bit much? Like it's almost a little bit put upon. It's a little bit like it's too out there. We live in a fallen world with a lot of crap that goes on. And you can have all the faith in the world. You can know that Father loves you. You can know that He's got your back. You can know that everything's going to work out okay in the end. But we live in a world, especially today, that's full of a lot of crap. And it is hard sometimes for people to remember how to smile, let alone know how to be joyful and happy and just glowing with everybody they meet, everybody they come across. And let me tell you, people aren't stupid. They can tell a faker from a mile away. And if you're coming up to them, you're talking, hey, how you doing? And you got a joker smile on your face and you're really trying to get out there. Immediately, you're going to put somebody off way more than if you come up wearing a hoodie with your hands in your pockets. Honestly, you are. That is Christitude. It embodies this thing of when you talk to people, it's almost like even if you're going through things in your life, a lot of these people, it's like they talk about it, they'll talk about their problems, but it's almost like they're trying to disguise how bad they really are. And every other word out of their mouth is faith this, prayer that, and they use this word, so I'll use it because what Christians say, oh, the Lord this, oh, and the Lord that, oh, and the Lord this. It almost sounds like when people are talking with that Christitude, it's like they're trying to put faith into every word they say. They're trying to force their faith into every word. It's like they feel they have to. I know this, and I'm telling you guys this because I really feel it burning on me really hot, like in my gut right now. Because me and my mother were just around somebody a couple of days ago that embodied this. It was a girl we actually knew a couple of years ago. Now, the last couple of years I wasn't doing live ministry. I was going through a lot of stuff, a lot of hard stuff. And in that time, There were days and there were times I wasn't smiling. And I wasn't talking about my faith and shouting it from the rooftops. There were times I got mad at Father. There were times I got mad at him. There were times that I regretted my service, what I was doing. I mean, the dredges I always thought I would smirk at and say, "You're never going to touch me." I wore it like a nasty coat. And here's something that I've learned. And I learned it from, interestingly, Father bringing this girl to me that I met a couple days ago. What I learned was this. Ironically enough, during some of the moments the last couple of years where I felt the most lost and I felt the most desperate, like I didn't know where to go, I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what decision to make, I felt like I didn't know up from down. There were a couple times over the last couple of years I thought I'd lost my way. I thought I had. But when I met this girl, this very normal Christitude type Christian girl, she's talking about all of the things she's going through, all of her problems she's been experiencing. And there was a couple key things I noticed when she was talking to me. One thing, she was talking about something she was into. She was studying for something, and she failed this test. And she said, "Yeah, because I didn't realize until I took it that I've got really bad anxiety. I've got anxiety." And I was like, okay. And I'm just listening. I don't say much. I'm just listening. Now, the whole time she's talking, she says, "I got anxiety," but she didn't even on a faith level say, "Well, I really think that the enemy's trying to put anxiety on me, but I don't claim it." She didn't even say, "Well, I've got anxiety, but I'm really trying to look into maybe how to get ahead of it." She didn't even talk about medication. She just said, "I've got anxiety." That was it. Okay, so you got anxiety, you believe you have anxiety, and you basically claimed it. You got it. It's just part of your life now. So I'm just, okay. You're a very Christian. You got the Christitude rolling off of you. In fact, just a little bit ago, the people running this counter, you were over here being your really Christitude happy self to them. Obviously, you were trying to make a mark, and now here you're telling me you got anxiety. And literally that's it. I'm plagued with it. And then she's talking about how she doesn't know what she's doing now in life. She feels like she doesn't know where she's going, what her path is. But as she tells me that she doesn't know what she's doing in life, I literally can feel rolling off of this girl this sense that she is truly, really lost. She literally does not know, not just what she's doing in life. She wore an aura on her that she literally was lost in her sense of self. Now let me tell you, you cannot know what job you're going to have next. You cannot know or understand what your next move is going to be if you're doing something or you don't know where your life's going to go next. You cannot know, but there's a different feeling when you literally feel like you don't know who you are, like you have lost your sense of self. That's different. When you feel like you look in the mirror, you don't know who's staring back at you anymore, that's terrifying. That is a crisis of yourself. And talking to this girl, through her fake smiling face, I could see it in her eyes. And I realized something after she walked away. Even when I was going through all kinds of crap, things that I used to never understand. I used to minister to people who were going through bad things with family, hard things with family. They were struggling in life. They were struggling with pain, all kinds of pain, all kinds of stuff. And all I understood, I'm young. I hadn't really ever been through a lot of pain, a lot of things. I'll just look at them and say, "Well, have faith and believe, you'll be healed. Have faith, you'll be healed. Faith healing, faith healing." That's all I'd say. It was on like a record repeat. Of all the things that I learned the last couple of years, after meeting this girl 2 weeks ago, seeing her again, I now know that what the difference is between being lost and just not knowing what comes next. There's a big difference. If you truly know your Father in heaven, if you truly know Him, down to your bones, you know who you drop down on your knees and you worship. You don't worship a Trinitarian abomination. You don't worship Yahshua as the deity. You worship Father, Yah Elohim, Yahweh. You know who your Almighty is. And when you bow your knees and you look up and you say, "You are my I am. You are my Creator." When you know who He is, there is never a time, any time in your life, or are you going to lose who you are? The worm might try to make you think that you have lost who you are. It might try to make you think that you're wearing a mask. It might literally put a mask over your features and make you think, I don't know who I am anymore. But there is a difference in your gut between truly being lost in life 100% and just not knowing the right decision is and losing your way. And I have seen, and I have now known, I can tell you this for fact. It is not opinion, it is fact. A child of Yah who knows who their father is, you will never lose yourself. Because who you are, he takes over. He takes you over. You don't have the luxury to be me anymore. You don't have the luxury to be who this is. You don't have the luxury to be, I'm Cody, I'm Beth, I'm Mike, I'm Barbara, I'm Kenny, I'm Leroy. You don't have the luxury anymore to look at yourself and say, that's me. Once Father owns you, he's possessive. He don't give back what's his. In fact, Joshua said that what belongs to Father, ain't nobody taken out of his hand. So for his own possessive sake, once you're his and once he knows you know him, he's like, okay, no take-backsies. You're mine. And because you're now mine, and I'm going to use you to glorify myself however I want to in this life, I don't care what you go through. I don't care how lost you feel sometimes, how lost you think you are. You're never going to lose your way. Because you're not going about being you and you anymore. It's my will controlling your every step, your every heartbeat, your every breath, and your every thought. Period. End of story. There is a striking difference. Go out here and look in the eyes, look at anybody else out here. Go to town, go to Walmart, walk into a church. You're going to see an example of what real lost people is like. And all I can tell you is you're going to literally feel it in your gut and you're going to hear it in their tone when you talk to that person. You talk to 98% of the people right now in this world. And when you're done talking to them, they could have $2 billion. They'd be wealthy as could be. They'd be a politician. They'd be a movie star. Athlete. By the end, I tell you right now, when you're done talking to them, you're going to come away and you're going to have a feeling about that person. They don't know who they are. There is a look in the eyes and there is a tone in the voice that you can feel that that person is truly lost. And let me tell you, when you then take stock of yourself and you go home and you look in the mirror, or you just sit down and you just think for a moment, you just literally think, you're going to notice, you're going to feel in yourself there is a vast difference deep down in how you feel versus what you just got off those people or that person you spoke to. What I mean by that is, you're going to know that even if your life is kind of upside down right now, even if you're facing a lot of troubles, a lot of crap, you're going through a lot of stuff, or maybe you're being faced with decisions that I don't know what choice to make. Deep down, there's going to be a knowledge, there's going to be this feeling that I'm going to keep waking up and I'm going to keep going. I know there's something. I know there's something better. I know somehow I'm going to make it. Somehow. You don't know how. Can't explain it. Can't figure it out. Can't define it. You literally don't know how you're going to make the decisions faced before you right now. But deep down, you know you're going to get up tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and you're going to keep going. And that's a difference between you and every other person out here in this world right now. When they go to bed and they wake up, deep down in their mind and their heart of hearts, they're not entirely sure that they are going to be making it from day to day. They don't know if they're going to remain sane or if they're going to keep their good wits. a week from now, a month from now, they are literally holding to what little tether of sanity they can. And that's terrifying. We can literally feel like we have nothing. Nothing right now. You could be in pain, sickness, poor, all kinds of crap. But if somehow, deep down inside of you, and you can't even explain it, you got a grasp on the tether that keeps you sane, that keeps you knowing, my feet are rooted and I'm going to keep walking. That provides you a comfort. Nothing else in this world. Nothing else will. Not money. Not even, honestly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, even your health. Because you could have a really painful, suffering illness right now. Something you're scaring you. Something that's bothering you. Something horrible, bad. But if you've got that hope somehow deep inside you're holding on to that keeps you going day by day, you know that you're going to make it through all this crap. You're going to make it. And what we call that hope. Humans call that thing hope. That's not hope. That's a word man made up. It's not hope. That's actually what it literally means to be holding on to and Father holding on to you. That feeling like you're holding on to something, that indescribable hope, is not hope. That's what it feels like when Father is literally cupping you in his hands. That even when you get squirrely, even when you feel like you're about to slip, even when you feel like you're about to fall into some deep, dark pit, and you're not going to be able to feel anything around you, that feeling people describe as hope is literally him with his hands over you and a strangle and a lock, saying, it's almost like you're a slippery fish in a way. To him, you're like if you catch a fish and the fish is, and it's whoop, whoop, whoop. That's kind of like what it is for Father. He says, yeah, you're a little squirrely, you're a little slippery, but I'm not going to let you go. No matter what. Even if you try to jump back out into that big, deep pond, I still got you by the tail. That's literally, we're Father's pretty little fishies. And no matter how squirrely we get, he never lets us go. If you really know him. And there's been some things, like I told you guys last couple of years, things I went through that I was really scared. Times I got mad at Father. And there is no worse feeling than when you feel like you've kind of strayed from your faith, or you've strayed from your purpose, or maybe you've strayed from him to a point, and you feel like he's mad at you because you've done that. Because we all got a conscience. We all know when we feel like we've strayed from him, or we feel like we've kind of walked on another path. It feels like crap. Especially because, again, man, if he's got you, if you belong to him, you can run to the end of the world and back, but eventually he's going to get you. Anyway, he's going to get you back. Because, again, you're his. He's possessive. Mine. So, I know there's no worse feeling from experience of feeling like he's mad at you because you had these slippery moments. Feeling like, man, I thought I had strong faith. Man, gosh, this happened. Man, I had this really low moment. It's a bad day or bad week or month, couple months. I can tell you right now, as I know I did it, you're wasting your time feeling that way. Father is too big. He's too big, and he's got too tight of a hold on you to ever get mad at you just because you got mad at him for a while. You got mad at Daddy for a while. Or you got squirrely. Or you started to toddle off on another path. He's too big to get mad at you for that kind of stuff. Father doesn't get mad at us like a parent gets mad at a child, the way we think. A kid does something, color on the wall, or whatever, our kid. Parents will get mad at a kid. But why as a parent do you get mad at your kid if they do something you told them not to do? Because you're a human, you're not perfect. So if your kid does something, it's because they did something you weren't expecting. Or maybe you actually expected them to do that bad thing anyway, but you still got mad. Father's different. When Father gets mad, don't flatter yourself. He's not getting mad at you. His rage is built in. When he gets mad at something, at sin or whatever, something going on, it's because the only way he can take wrath out on something is he has to be angry to do it. And he's got a long play. He's got a long plan that none of us can fathom because of exactly how everything has got to go. And all of our lives are a part of it. And every bit of everything he's going to do, when he needs to get mad, his anger's planned out. He knows when he's going to get mad. Nothing happens he's not aware of. So when you go to stray or you feel like I'm struggling, you feel like I've made a bad decision, and there's no worse feeling than feeling like you made the wrong choice and you can't go back. Father is literally looking at us and he's saying, there's no such thing as you making a bad choice or the wrong choice. Because I own you and I own what you do. And even when you make a mistake, even when you do something you're not proud of, hate to tell you this, he literally says to you, I ordained for you to make those mistakes and those decisions and those things you regret. Because it's going to make you better. It's going to teach you lessons. It's going to bring you further and closer to me. For my glory. So when you come back, you will bow your face even farther to the floor, and you will feel even more grateful and loving to me that I loved you through it all. So, Father is not going to punish us because there are times we feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. That does not happen. And when he needs to get us back on the right path, literally, his way of getting mad at his children is just him giving us either a light tap or, if need be, a boot back on the right path. But he doesn't get mad at us and just rage at us for no reason. Now, I know for myself, I know for a lot of people, when you're in a point in life where things aren't going yippee, skippy, happy, doo-dah, and that's not the case. You always got something going on usually. Especially when you're in the midst of hard times or trying to make decisions or you're scared about the future, what's going to come. The worst thing you can live under is this mindset that I got to make sure I make the right choice. I got to make sure I do the right thing. I'm going to tell you something right here now, and I'm not telling you this. I can feel the conviction in my heart and in my soul what I'm about to tell you, and I would take any execution for it. I can feel this in my gut. The decisions that we make, that you're going to have to make today, tomorrow, the next week, you're not going to be the one making those decisions. Father's going to be making those decisions through you. Every one of us. If you belong to him, and only you know if you belong to him, because when you think about who made you, if you're seeing a face, if you're thinking about who made you and you're seeing any kind of a face, wrong. Because we can't perceive Father's face. We can't perceive him by these 5 human senses. We know our Father in no other way, and this is where faith is hard, is that the being that is beyond our senses, not only is he real and did he make everything, but he loves us, that we are of use to him, to glorify him, and that he's got us in his hand. But literally, this is how you're going to, Yahweh. If there's a face in your mind, you think about him. If you're imagining a picture of Yahshua, of Jesus, you don't know your Father. If when you think of Father, you're thinking of the Bible, and that's your deity, you don't know him. If you think of him, you're thinking of your local church, or you're seeing your pastor's face, you don't know your Father. But when you sit and you think about who made you, and you think about your Almighty, and all you can think of when you think about him is breathing. I'm alive. It's a beautiful day outside. That flower seems too perfect. Or some small, incredible thing happens in the day. You find a $20 bill in the parking lot. Something unexplainable. Those little subtle signs. You're seeing little bits, little masterpiece works, little bits of art. You're seeing little bit of signs, fingerprints of the one who made you, of your Father. If you see and recognize those things, then you know your Father. If when you think of Yahweh, you think, I'm healthy. Or maybe I'm not healthy right now, but I know I'm going to get better and I know I'm going to get through this. Or it's hard and this world is dark, but somehow I know it's going to get better. When you see something beautiful that nobody else can see, you know your Father. Because then when you say his name, when you say that name that is above all other names, when you say Yahweh, you will feel something in your heart. You will feel something in your gut, in your spirit. And when you feel that, that is your register. That is your mark. That is confirmation for yourself that you know who your Father is. So if you belong to him, and that's your measure whether you belong to him or not, then I'm going to give you a news flash. You don't have free will anymore. Your free will has been taken from you. That's a hard thing for most people to say. What I just said, 99% of the population would disagree with worldwide. When you are a child of Yah, signing your name on the dotted line means from that moment on, you have no more free will. And everything you ever do, what you perceive as good, and even the things you perceive are bad, even the mistakes you make, you could sin tomorrow, know you sinned afterward, and drop to your knees and ask for forgiveness. Father ordained that to be done. He knew you were going to do it. He ordained you to do it. Why did he ordain you to make that mistake? Do that bad thing or whatever? It could be for a multitude of reasons. And I'm not Father, I'm not nearly as wise as him, so don't ask me to tell you every single reason, because I'd be a fool to tell you. But I can give you some general. It's one, he's trying to keep you humble. He's trying to bring you a little closer to him. Because sometimes, like an actual child, we can get real puffed up and egotistical and think that we're too big for our britches. And sometimes he lets us make mistakes to humble us and realize we're not all as great as what we thought we were. Living proof. And next of all, through something you did, a mistake you made, something you thought was a mistake or something you thought was a bad decision, you have no idea how many lives that might have affected. And even if you thought that mistake affected somebody's life negatively, Father could literally plan for that decision to spiral and eventually result into something good and great. Your mistake could be the catalyst for something wonderful down the road. You had to take the pain for it, but something great could happen. Any decisions placed before us in this life, all of us, and I pray this gives you some form of peace. Because when I felt at times like I didn't know who I was, when I was going through all that, this helped give me peace. That no matter what we do, we don't have to worry about what decision we're going to make, or what step we're going to take, or what the next day is going to hold for us. Because Father's taken total command of our life. Even if you're not praying to him every day, you can go through 6 straight months and hardly talk a word to him. But he is still literally roboting your every step you take. He doesn't need, once you belong to him, he doesn't need your willing consent to then use your life how he sees fit to glorify him, achieve his plan, and to bring you wherever he intends your life to be. Some people would hate to hear that. I have a lot of people who would hate to hear I don't have free will. A lot of people would hate to hear that. What do you mean I don't have the power to make my own decisions? Of course I do. I'm going to make a decision right now. Watch me. And they're going to be proving my point, because whatever they're doing, Father's going to be proving a point through them. But regardless, some people, a lot of people, would hate to hear that. But if we in this room, if any of us are at a point in our life where we've made a lot of what we think are mistakes in our life, if we have all of us made decisions that we regret, if we have all over the years, we think we've led our own lives, we've done things what we thought was best, and if now we sit where we are and we look back and we're like, man, I wish I could have changed a whole bunch of stuff. Oh man, I haven't done as good of a job leading my life as I thought I could. If any of us can look back over our life and our past and feel that way, that I wish I would have done a better job, then I think for you guys, this message that you're not leading your own life, you're not in control, and you don't have free will, and no matter what decision you make, you're not the one making it, Father is the one making it through you, then for those of us that feel that way, I think that should be a tremendous breath of fresh air. Because that means we can look back over our life, we can stop looking back over our shoulder, and being so ashamed of what we see, all we can do is just go, oh my gosh. And instead, we can start looking back over our shoulder, and we can start saying, well, I don't get it, but I wasn't the one doing all that stuff anyway. I was just all part of the plan, so I'm glad you got the wheel. I'm just gonna buckle in. Gives us a whole lot of peace. Because regret is unbearable. It can cripple us. It literally can bring us to our knees. Take peace, children of Yah. You are not your own. And your heart, and your hands, and your feet, and your brain, and your tongue is not your own. The Almighty we serve is Almighty for a reason, because He embodies everything. He embodies love. He embodies wrath. He embodies what humans consider good and what humans consider bad. Way back in ancient days in the Old Testament, Father had genocide committed of people, but He willed that to be so. Humans say genocide is bad, but if Father says that I have to take out a people, we call it bad, but Father says, hey, it's my plan, so it's good. So by our standards of human morality, right and wrong, humans would say Father is both good and bad. So He embodies good, He embodies bad. He made the worm. He made Satan. Think about it, He made Satan with the purpose to fall. He made him with the purpose to fall. Just so all this could happen and Father could get glory through every single moment of this entire history of the world. The Satan literally exists for no other reason through all the evil it does than to Father to come along and to do something greater and bigger and better to trump what Satan does, what the worm does. Father therefore made and ordained the fall of the worm, of Satan. Father orchestrates and embodies all things, everything. So therefore, every quality we possess, the things that we possess that we think are good, and the traits that we think are bad, Father ordains it all and Father controls it all. And no matter what we do in this life, every decision that is made is governed. There was a time I went through where I lived in a constant mental fear that I was going to do bad things. But Father proved that He owns us because, all right, good example. You ever got really mad at somebody out here and you thought about, I'd love to go punch that person. I'd love to do this or do that. Now, 9 times out of 10, I mean, the ages we all are here in this room, over our many years of life, we might have had a billion impulses in our life to want to give somebody what for or punch them in the face. And out of those billion times, only 10 of those times we might have actually done something. Now, every time you had an impulse you really wanted to give somebody what for, give them a piece of your mind or pop them one, and you didn't, you probably didn't realize it at the time, but there was a reason you didn't do it. It's because it wasn't Father's will for you to do it. He was literally, you thought about it, but He has those strings on you, and He's like, no, you're not going to do that. And possibly you stopped yourself. I know there's been times I really wanted to do something, and I didn't do it. And I think about it later and I'd be like, well, man, I really wanted to do that. But I didn't do it. Maybe I'm just too big of a coward. Maybe I'm just too cowardly. Or maybe I wasn't. Why? A wild animal, an animal doesn't think about something before they do it. An animal just does something. An animal literally has no process, no ability to think something over before they do it. Animal just does it. They'll lay on somebody's pillow consistently. They won't think about it. They'll just do it and hair it up. That's what animals are like. They cannot restrain themselves. They get an instinct, they do it. That's normal. That is normal. When a human restrains themselves from doing something, that's not normal. You didn't stop yourself. You didn't stop yourself. It wasn't your self-control. It wasn't because you were cowardly or you were just too strong to do it. It's because in those times you were seeing examples. And I want you all literally right now think over your life. I want you to think, even maybe recent times where you restrained yourself from doing something, anything. That is an example of what I'm telling you, that you don't have free will. Father stopped you from doing it. He stopped you. You didn't stop yourself. He did. Whatever it was. And the things we did do, he allowed us to do because it benefited his will in some way. Teach us a lesson. Humble us. Bring us closer to him. Some way. It was benefiting his plan. So when you get up, you drive out, you go, you leave this place today, if of all the things I have prattled on about right now, there is one thing you remember, and there is one thing that your Father in heaven wants you to remember, and he wants you to carry from this place and give you a measure of peace in this chaotic, crazy, insane world. It is that the decisions placed before you, this very next moment, this very next hour, the next day, they're not your decisions to make. And whatever is done, whatever decision is made in that time, Father is making that decision through you. And one day, he's going to show you why. I know for me, I've had a lot of moments here very recently, decisions I've made. At the time, I didn't know why I did it. Now looking back, he started to show me why I made those decisions when I did. Even when I thought they were a mistake. Even when I thought that I was so screwed up from down, I didn't know what I was doing. But I'll be darned if eventually he shows me why I did what I did. If it was something I regret, he shows me why I did it. And in a weird way that I'm thankful for it. And if I restrain myself from doing something I shouldn't have done, he later shows me why I did. True peace in this life doesn't come from being told that life's going to be perfect for you when you get saved and you won't have any problems and all you got to do is pray, pray, pray and it'll all get better. All that's going to do is chase people away from faith. Because there are people that drop down to their knees and pray 12 hours a day. Quote unquote. I'm just being funny. But there are people that pray all day long. And they don't see the things they desire. What they want so badly, they don't see it happen. They don't see their will come to pass. And praying and praying and praying all day long, there are more people who have just, all I gotta do is pray. And there are more people that have done that who have been turned away from their faith. I know a man that used to do that all the time. And he literally turned away from his faith because all he ever did was pray, thinking that'd be the answer. And because nothing he wanted came to pass. He therefore said, well, it's not real. The true peace to be had for us is the knowledge that no matter how hard things get, how crappy things may seem at the time, no matter how much regret you may have over your life and things you've done, decisions you've made, what you might do from this very moment on, you have not lost yourself and you will never lose yourself. If you belong to Yah Elohim, Yah Almighty, he's got you and he literally will never let you go because you are his. And he will not let go of what is his. You will never truly know the feeling that most of the people out here feel when you truly lose your way. It is not possible for you to actually know the feeling of what it is like to actually lose yourself. And when every time you've ever thought you had lost yourself, you didn't. You didn't. Trust me. There's a lot of crazy people walking the sidewalks right now. I have seen more crazy people walking the streets out and about than I have in years. Actual crazy people walking around, doing crazy stuff. Now, those people, that's a good example of people who've lost themselves. Good example. You have never and will never know what it is like to lose yourself. And most importantly, any decision you're faced with in this life, you're not going to be the one making it. Your Father's making it through you. And He's going to see you through it. And you're going to get through. Maybe limping, bleeding, and crawling, but you're going to get there. And it has nothing to do with your effort or you. It's His will. He says, it's part of my will that you make it to the end. And I'm not going to, He says to you, I will not settle for anything less than you getting to the end of the path I have made for you. So sit back, get your hands off the wheel, and He says, let me work. Let me drive. And when we put our hand on the wheel and we try to take His hands off of it, well, good news for that too. Even we think that we've actually managed to get His hands off the wheel and we think that we've got it again, He's just giving us a little child's steering wheel and we're just kind of there beside of Him. We're just steering with His little child steering wheels. He's just still actually got the wheel. He's just making us feel better by giving us a little child steering wheel to turn, making us feel like we're doing something, but we're not. And I feel in my heart, my soul, I believe that is the peace that transcends all understanding that Yahshua taught. Because He didn't want to do half the crap He did. But He realized He didn't have no choice. Because everything He was going to do, Father was already going to make Him do it anyway. Every decision, every healing, everything. So when Yahshua talks about peace and peace transcends all understanding, that was what He meant. The one who made you controls you. And every aspect of what you do. So take peace. You cannot fail. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot fall to ruin. He will not allow you to. Even if you feel like you've made a mistake, even if you feel like you're in ruin, Father doesn't care about how you feel. He doesn't care about if you feel like you're in ruin or you feel like you've made a mistake. Father's judgment is the only one that matters. And you can be sitting here having a pity party for yourself. Oh man, I made such a horrible mistake. Man, my whole life's been mistakes, my gosh. And all Father's saying is, no, I just see my plan. I just saw my will. What you called a mistake, I called another maneuver. What you call a bad life decision, I called a monumental next step. And your journey and this life I crafted for you, piece by piece, step by step with my hands. And in a weird way, if you think about it like that, if we therefore look at any part of our life with regret or shame or guilt and say, I wish this wouldn't have happened, we're spitting on His plan. We spat on something that He, in His will, knew and ordained to happen. If He ordained that to be done and we say, I regret it, we're regretting an action that His will and nothing is outside of His will. You are disrespecting something your Father brought into being. That's no different than looking at a mountain range He crafted with His own hands and saying, it's too lumpy for my taste. Boy, Almighty made a mistake. It's the same difference. And how much more valuable are you than a mountain? Or anything else? Because you're a representation of Him. You're a unique representation of Him. Your individual lives are a unique manifestation of Father's own being. He literally crafted you in his own image, and you are carrying out a particular kind of purpose, a will, of a part of his image, his being. He says through your life, I am glorifying and gaining myself a unique story, a unique glorification out of each one of your lives. And if you think about that for a minute, that your entire life is nothing more, and I've said it before, and I got to say it again because I think he really likes this. If you realize your whole life has been nothing more than a canvas for his work and his glory to somehow manifest, even in your pain, that gives everything a lot more meaning. Now we don't look at ourselves as just mistakes anymore. Now we don't look at ourselves as failures anymore. Now we don't look at ourselves as, well, boy, I'm a letdown. Instead, you start looking at yourself and saying, I can't see the glory in this picture that's being made right now, but he does, and that's all that matters. But one day we will. And sometimes he lets you see a little bit of the picture he's making out of your life. And sometimes when he does, and these are what we call the happy moments. It's what we call the times when there's a little bit of light shining through the clouds. Sometimes when we get those, yeah moments, that's him showing us, see, this is a little piece of you I'm putting on this canvas. And it's going to be a work of art. So don't ever call any part of your life or anything about you a mistake or a failure or a letdown. Speak from experience. There are things I used to be ashamed of. I did. Things I felt guilty about. Things I would have never told anybody else. But I'm not ashamed of that stuff anymore. Because it's all part of my Father's canvas of my life he's making. And who paints a picture or who makes a sculpture and doesn't set it up for other people to see? So he made us, he owns us. Therefore, if we're a work of art, he has full rights to display us for everybody to see. And I don't want to hide what he's making. So don't hide your life. Don't hide who you are. Don't hide even things about yourself you're not proud of. Things you're ashamed of. Let me tell you one thing, you're going to reach a lot more people with the dirty parts of yourself you're ashamed of than you ever are the polished side you like to show people that looks all contained and all nice and well put together. Because if you walk up to somebody with the Christitude, everything's good, and the clouds are parted and the light is shining upon me and there's music singing down upon me, let me tell you one thing. You walk up to somebody like that showing that polished, veneered side, people are going to look at you and they're going to go, what's up with this person? I don't know. But if you walk up to them and you're showing the rough edges, the hard edges, but there's something about you. You got your rough edges on display. But that person, they can feel there's something about you. They can't put a finger on it, but there's something about you. And that's Father's presence coming out of you. It's his presence coming out of you. Even through the rough edges. That's going to reach people. That's going to reach them. Truly. So, don't fear the decisions you have coming up. Don't fear your life. Don't fear. Don't fear yourself. Take peace. True peace. Everything we do, he is directing and guiding. Even if we don't understand it. And I'm not, unlike before when I used to do live ministry, I'm not telling you something that I think sounds good and I feel, but I'm telling you something I've learned from hard experience. I'm telling you something I have literally put into practice, and I put into practice every day that has given me actual waking peace. I tell you this with conviction, not as pretty words from a preacher. So, the last thing I'll tell you guys is this. We do these messages, and we gather together like this, but I feel like the greatest work that I've ever done with any of you guys is who I am to you personally. So, when this camera shuts off, who I am right now, what I am for Father, I am for you guys all the time. All of you. So, this isn't just one day, one time. I implore you all. Father has required me to go through some pretty crappy things to be an example and a teacher for him. So I implore you to make use of all that so I can put it to use so all that stuff wasn't for nothing. I don't mind. I really don't mind. It makes me feel very good. It gives me purpose. So, thank you all for your time. And this goes for everybody out there.